Hello, cats and kittens. Mama Cat Gamer here, now with the sound live. Okay. No wonder I couldn't hear myself. Oh my god. Let's see, hopefully that's working. Let's see if I can hear myself. Can I hear myself talking on Twitch? I don't know. There we are. All right.
Sound live.
Okay. I'm like behind on my stuff. Okay. There we go. Okay, I can hear myself on YouTube now too. Sorry, guys. This is like... You guys have no idea how crazy this is. Live streaming is a whole nother animal than recording. You know, when I record, I check the sound, make sure it's good, and then we go live, right? When I'm live streaming, I gotta check the sound on my side, I gotta check the sound on Twitch, I gotta check the sound on YouTube. And it's like, oh my god, there's so much to do. And, it's never a dull moment. Let's see. And then, gotta post stuff real quick. Where am I? Go to my channel. Oh, lordy. We're live if I can get my what? Live streaming working. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. Turn my YouTube down just a hair more. Okay. All right, cats and kittens. We can now officially get on to the color of joy. So we're going to go back to old Charlian. Wait, let's not pay 517 gil. Okay, is it me or is my screen like really, really dark? It feels really dark to me. I hope that doesn't mean my monitor is like trying to die. Like, I really don't need any more expenses. Alright, Baldessia Annex. You know, after, we had to replace the battery on the van. Thank God it wasn't anything more expensive. And then, we had to, you know, replace our AC and furnace, and that was 13,000 bucks. It's like, oh my god. All right, I try to answer questions. I've got chat up on my phone, but not the YouTube chat. so I have to check that manually. I'm still working on getting the docks set up. It's a, it's an ever-learning process, right? All right, let's talk to Kryl. It's good to be back and with the fruit of our labors safely in storage. Remember last time they got a bunch of talismans to help protect people if they didn't have the Blessing of Light, right? Okay. For now, we have but to wait the others to return from their respective meetings with the Alliance leaders. As Thancred suggested, you should go get some rest in the meantime. We rest often. What else does she have to say? Your chamber is comfortable, I hope. If it's cold in there, just let me know. We have plenty of blankets to spare. Ojika Sunjika says, welcome back, Gav. Kryl has apprised me of your recent accomplishments. What an amazing feat to eliminate a tower and pave the way to deal with the rest. While it isn't much, I've changed your sheets and plumped up your pillow. After all, there's nothing like collapsing in a nice, clean bed after completing a major milestone, be it penning a thesis or defeating deiform entities. So, would you like to take a look at your new and improved lodgings now? Sure. Oh, and we get some Archon loaves.
Take heart and protect them well.
Good, you're here. You haven't eaten yet, have you? We've bought quite a spread if you're interested. Only the finest dining from the last stand.
Gav's going, whoa, dinner's served. Alfino's very proper, you know.
Lest you wonder, we invited Estinian as well. But he refused with a rather grim-faced, "No, thank you." I suspect Charlian cuisine is not to his liking.
Oh, I don't know about that. Perhaps our lone wolf just needed some time apart.
What? To perfect his brooding stare?
Brooding stare.
Next time, I'll drag him out by the ear, sit him down in front of a Charlian feast, and see that he eats every last bite.
An excellent idea. Of all people, warriors must take proper meals and rest if they are to maintain a healthy constitution.
Poor Estinian, beset on all sides.
Speaking of one's physical condition, Mistress Kryl, I hear you recently played literal host to Heidelin herself.
And what an experience that was. Tiring, yes, but no lasting harm done. If anything, I should have liked to speak with her longer. I've not felt a hint of her presence since.
Heidelin instructed you to carry that flower, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Twill be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. And then something about seeking joy in darkness, was it? come to think of it, isn't that what happened with Nidana back in Radsat Han?
The flower did seem to radiate a joyful glow, as if reflecting the elation we all felt. The relief of a people with renewed hope.
Indeed. And in turn, I felt buoyed by that radiance. 'Twas akin to spotting a beacon, and knowing we were on the right path. I know we've not yet triumphed over the Telophoroi, or learned the full breadth of the Forum's plans. But even within the midst of our struggles, we find small moments of joy to sustain us. Rare and hard-won perhaps, but it is this pursuit of happiness that gives us the strength to carry on day after day. Hey, that's mine.
To the swift the spoils. Though I recall that levitation spell of yours was quick enough.
Only barely. And even at my best, I'm still too slow to wield it effectively in battle. Mayhap I simply require more practice with this new magic.
You unearthed it from the depths of Numenon, I presume?
Aye, and from a veritable mountain of arcane tomes at that. 'Twas necessary to facilitate my solitary explorations.
Or, to put it simply, you used it to sneak around the Forbidden Archives.
Yes, well, after a fashion.
Just trying to hand him the cookie, and he's like, not going for it.
They're tall, you see. The shelves, they're too tall for me. And I could hardly move the library's platforms without attracting attention now, could I?
Oh!
Burgers look good. You could say, are we pushing on till dawn, or shall we call it a night? Or you do know these are my quarters. Oh, let's do the first one.
I'm not that ambitious. But 'tis pleasant to idle away the hours every once in a while.
Yes, it is. He ate all the cookies. Oh, that has a nice glow now. It's a happy flower. Go along with Bob Ross's happy grass. Oh, Xeno scene.
Enjoying the bracing cold, I see. Do you not own a warm coat or a cloak? Something in fur? Or fashioned from the skins of your enemies?
Oh my god.
Or... well, never mind that.
I'm afraid to ask what that never mind that would be.
I come to you once more as the bearer of bad news. Our tower in Thavnir has been toppled, and I need not tell you by whom. Given how many we have at our disposal, the loss of a single spire is hardly fatal to our plans. It does, however, slow the rate at which we siphon the ether. If they continue to preoccupy themselves with the towers, then all will be well. But should our foe prove bold enough to strike at us here, then the timing becomes questionable.
Our foe is bold enough. Of that, I can assure you.
Yes, very well then. I suppose I must prepare a proper welcome. Honestly, talk of your nemesis is the only thing you seem to enjoy. Does nothing else spark your interest?
No. All else is equal. Equally tedious. Equally disappointing. The world is a tepid bog into which we sink, too weak to thrash as the mud clings to our eyes and fills our throats till we blissfully choke.
That's a little dark.
But then came the light, blinding and pure and hot, so very hot, enough to set my soul aflame. I basked in the afterglow until the void yawned once more, and then I knew the muck would never claim me again. There was naught for me ahead, so I drew the curtain on all that had come before. Burn, burn, let the whole star burn. I will have my contest. I will reclaim my moment.
My goodness. I mean, could you not send a politely worded letter to him and say, hey, you know, I'll let the star not burn if we can have our fight again? I'm sure Gav would actually probably agree to that one.
How wonderful that the emptiness of death has not dissuaded you from committing your life to its pursuit once more.
And Daniel's just going, okay.
I don't know whether to envy you or pity you.
You question my disinterest, but what of yours? Despite your noisome antics, I sense you take little pleasure in this endeavor.
Mercy, my lord. Such pointed barbs from one who barely acknowledges my existence. Nevertheless, you are mistaken. For I do find this part somewhat enjoyable. You see, when I was mortal, I would always have the same dream. It was a fragmented thing, disjointed, all the faces incomplete. The setting, too, was unknown to me, so I thought it simply a fantasy of my sleeping mind. Until one day, I realized it was showing me the truth. Much as your dream of the final days enlightened you. And soon, very soon, the rest of the world will see the truth of my dream, too. Yes, I think that is something we can both enjoy.
Alright, I'm gonna hold off for about a minute 8. Grab a drink if you need one. If the ads are coming up on Twitch and you're missing parts of the video, the the VOD will be up on YouTube anyway. So you'd be able to catch any parts you missed there. All right. Why won't Xenos stay dead? That's a great question. I think the answer, if you want the meta answer, it's because people love Xenos, right? He's a fantastic antagonist. His voice actor in English is wonderful. Just a gifted speaker. Trying to watch the chat on here. Bear with me while I check on something. All right. No, I think I'm caught up. Okay. Graha says, I hope you don't mind us barging into your room for our late night feast. For what it's worth, it did me a world of good to put our troubles to one side, if only for a moment. Kryl says, sound the bell, school's in. Kryl and Graha Tia are having a pleasant conversation until you barged in. Okay. Oh, there you are, feeling refreshed, I hope. I was about to make my way to the studium as it happens. I wanted to try and speak with Scholar Monteshane and thank him for coming to our rescue in the rostra. As it turns out, he'd come here to see us following the hearing, only to find that we'd already departed for Thavnair. Knowing him, he was probably hoping to chew the cud with his former students. Since we're still waiting for Y'shtola and the others, I thought now the perfect time to pay him a visit. Care to join me? Oh, yes. Of course we say yes. Then it's settled. The twins will be coming too, assuming Alfino can tear himself away from his new toys. I'll let you rally the troops while I go on ahead to Phenomenon. Graha says, considering my recent impropriety, perhaps I should avoid showing my face around the studium for a time. Graha says, that might be for the best. If the others should return, tell them we will not be long. Do you have anything else for us? Unlike some of the Scions, I am not an alumni of the studium. As such, I have no acquaintances there I am obliged to visit. And while I would love nothing more than to pore over the many great tomes of Phenomenon, I fear my presence there would stir up more unwanted trouble. So, for now, I will be patient, much as it pains me to do so. I can just imagine. We have to speak with Alize. Oh, she's right outside the Baldessian exit. Annex here. Alfino says, if Father can master these fiendish contraptions, then so can I. Alright, Alize says. Heading out for a stroll. Yeah. We're going to Phenomenon. The Scholark himself was here? In that case, what are we waiting for? Alfino says, I too am eager to see him, though I somewhat dread the thought of visiting the studium. I dare say our notoriety precedes us. Alice says, Alfino, of all people, worrying about his reputation, and at our alma mater, no less. Will wonders never cease? You'll understand soon enough. Off we go. We have to speak with Kryle over by the studio. All right, what do the twins have to say? Oh, they're looking up at this building. It's kind of cool. I like the architecture here. Alfino says, it feels like only yesterday that I first walked through these doors. Elise says, see that sculpted picture above the entrance? That's the mark of Thaliak, the scholar, bearer of the waters of knowledge. It's no exaggeration to say that Charlian itself is one enormous shrine to him, and that's especially noticeable here in the studium. I like how you learn little bits of lore when you talk to them for these optional dialogues. Well worth it. Kryle says, here it is, phenomenon. While I expect you made note of it before, one can hardly miss it. This is the first time you've been here on official business, correct? Gav goes, I'm not an Archon, right? Kryle says, while most of the space is taken up by the expansive auditoriums, it also houses numerous laboratories, testing grounds for experimental magics, and a host of administrative offices and so forth. Alfino says, as the center of what would later become the studium, it was established to promote the study of ethereological phenomenon, hence the name. Though with ether being a fundamental aspect of nature, its scope expanded to include every conceivable facet of life and even the universe itself. And then, in the 432nd year of the 6th astral era, phenomenon was decreed complete and the studium officially opened as a place of learning. With a long and storied history, it is without question the world's leading authority in etherology, the arcane, the occult, astromancy, and countless other fields, standing proud as... Elise and Kryle say, Charlian's foremost educational institute. Kryle says, you always did enjoy giving the grand tour to new students. Elise says, indeed, I've long since lost track of how many times he has recited that same foppish speech, such as his undying love for his old stamping ground. He was in top form back then. Youngest to enter the studium, graduated with highest honors in magical arts and etherology, undisputed champion of the debating chamber. Kryle says, hold on, you both joined the studium at the same age, yes? And from where I stand, you're equally prodigious scholars. Elise says, nice of you to say, but Alfino actually entered half a year before me. Nor did I do well enough to graduate with honors, and I am certainly not the studium's most notorious master debater. In all respects have I ever been in his shadow. If nothing else, just remember that this was where the legend of Alfino Levailleur began. We should expect everyone to be fully aware of our recent escapades. Hopefully we'll be somewhat more welcome here than we were at the last stand. I know better than anyone the adoration the student body has for Alfino, and with a bit of luck it might work to our advantage. Kryle says, well, there's no time like the present. First things first, let's look for Scholar Monteshen. Other faculty tend to frequent their offices, but unfortunately for us, he's fond of wandering wheresoever his whims take him. Let's split up and ask the students if they've seen him. All right. See if there's anything at the summoning bell for me. I want to keep these guys rolling. We're trying to level up the new guild, and well, that looks kind of cool. That is a Mistwake chest piece of maiming. Wonder if it's higher. I don't think it's higher level. Nope, I have a 770 stuff on. Although I could probably put it on Gilles Marchand. I'll save it for him. Excitable student. That was Alphino Levair, wasn't it? The Alphino Levair? And he's with his sister and Master Baldassian's granddaughter. This can only mean one thing. An event of epoch-shattering proportions is fast approaching. Spread the word. Oh, sorry, you said you're looking for the Scholarch, yes? Knowing him, he could be anywhere, but Miss Aliopo should have a better idea. You have anything else? What could warrant the sudden return of so many esteemed alumni? Is there truth to the rumors? I must get to the bottom of this. Oh lordy, so many ads. Alphinosis, I assure you, I'll tell you all about it after my business with the Scholarch has concluded. The overzealous student says, the Scholarch? Tell me, my good fellow, does this have something to do with saving the world from catastrophe? Solomon student says, might we turn our attention to Master Levair's graduation thesis? I too have my doubts regarding our policy of non-intervention. Bright-eyed student has said, is it true that your experiences overseas are the reason you have incurred the ire of the Forum? Oh, what I wouldn't give to see you butt heads with those old codgers. Oh, the soprano here is so beautiful. Swinda. Phenomenon is something of a multi-purpose facility used by lecturers and craftsmen alike. If you're looking for learners' meet, it's through the last door on the left. Alize says, things were bad enough during our school days, and Alphino's time abroad has only heightened his fame. Or should that be infamy? He had his rivals and detractors, of course, though most of them gave that up after his adoring fans set upon them like ravenous dogs. Alphino, on the other hand, never paid them much notice. They were simply beneath him. I don't think they were beneath him. I think Alphino was just kind of clueless on all of it. There's a difference there. My allergies are like crazy today. Alphino says, I assure you, I'll tell you all about it after my business with the Scholarch has concluded. Oh, okay, we already talked to him. Okay. We'll skip through that. We're gonna go in here. Key Alepo. Are you lost? Wandering off the street, perhaps? Well, don't tell me you're... Wait, don't tell me you're a trainee gleaner fresh off the guild ship. I'm right, aren't I? Oh, how silly of me. An orientation is in order. Allow me to bid you a warm welcome to Searcher's Meet. Let me start with a question. What is the most important thing you'll find in the studium? That's right, books. And what's the second most important? Peanut butter. Why, that's simple. Everything else. Peanut butter is definitely second. That's what we deal in here at Searcher's Meet. Whenever the students or tutors find themselves in need of equipment or materials, they come to us. If we don't have it in our stores, we send the gleaners off to find it. Honestly, you wouldn't believe some of the requests we get. Eye of Pysa this, tongue of Giganto that. It's enough to make your hair stand on end. Which is possibly what some of our students are trying to accomplish, this being a school of magic and all. As our newest gleaner, you will have your work cut out for you, but I think you'll find it quite rewarding. You could say the only thing I'm interested in gleaning is information on the Scholark's whereabouts, or I've tracked down many miscellaneous knickknacks in my time, but I'm no gleaner. Do the latter. So, what you're telling me is you're not a gleaner? Yes, that's exactly what you said, isn't it? And you're looking for a Scholark? I'm afraid we don't have any of those in stock, but I can't... Oh, you mean him? He was here, but now he's not. I did speak with him shortly before you arrived, though. He said he was on his way to Maker's Meet. Go back the way you came in, and you'll see on the opposite side of the entrance, it's a laboratory of sorts, home to many rare and expensive curios, not to mention alarmingly frequent accidents. If you lose your way, just follow the blood-curdling screams. In the time it's taken me to tell you all of this, Scholark has probably already left. Best of luck finding him. I have a feeling you'll need it. Do you have anything else? Finding a worthy gleaner is proving tougher than I thought. Maybe I'm not suited for this line of work. Alright. Have to go back the way we came in. I'm gonna go across the way here. Here's a level-headed student. I kind of like these outfits. I'm not too excited about the plaid, but I like the other design. Kind of reminds me of Sherlock Holmes, you know? Yes, the Scholark was here a short while ago. He offered me advice on my current research project. Though we spoke at length, I don't recall him mentioning where he was planning to go next. When we parted ways, he went down the corridor, perhaps to one of the auditoriums. Anything else? It's strange seeing Maker's Meet so empty. People usually treat it like a common room. Ah, here's Cryo. Unsurprisingly, the Scholark is not in his office. I did, however, speak with one student who saw him not long ago, so he can't have gone far. Maugison and Passameran. Oh, here he is. Let's do a lookout. Sightseeing log entries 007 complete. The public lecture hall in Phenomenon is open to Studium pupils and Charlian citizens alike. When prominent professors are scheduled to take the lectern, crowds of aspiring academics and established scholars often fill the room to capacity. All right.
Ah, I remember you.
I pray we have not caught you at an inopportune moment. We wanted to offer our thanks for your kind words in the forum.
Well, I could hardly let that Inquisition go unchallenged. I've always believed that curiosity should be nurtured, not stifled. Thankfully, a majority of my colleagues agreed. A slender majority, aye, but a majority nonetheless.
Had the vote not gone our way, we would be having a very different conversation, if any at all. Though I'd like to think you would have not given up on our cause. I'm told you paid a visit to the Annex afterwards.
Yes, that's right. I was hoping to speak with the grandchildren of my dearly departed friends Galuf and Louisoix in a less dour setting. But it seems I just missed you. I still can't believe how much you've grown.
If only your grandsires could have seen the way you presented yourselves to the Forum. Why, it fair brought a tear to my own eye.
Aw.
You must have the patience of a saint, putting up with this lot and their antics. Never mind Matoya's prize student. Luckily, I know a thing or two about managing unruly younglings. If you ever need advice, don't hesitate to ask.
Who, us?
If I may, there is a rather more pressing matter we wish to discuss. What can you tell us of this duty that the Forum must fulfill?
Nothing, I'm afraid. Like all humble servants of the Forum, I am sworn to secrecy. Or rather, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Our duty is of the gravest importance. Furthermore, if the particulars were made public, it would incite widespread panic. As such, those entrusted with this duty have been bound by an enchantment, which prevents us from speaking of such matters without the express permission of the Forum.
Aha, now we learn some more.
How is that even possible?
It's been some time since I last gave a lecture. Please, take a seat.
Uh-oh. School's in session.
We shall begin by reviewing the fundamentals of etherology. The ether, which imbues us with life, can be categorized into three forms. Two are of the incorporeal sort, the soul and the memory. Can anyone tell me the third?
Corporeal ether or magic. Gav's gonna go,
The answer is corporeal ether. This is the form with which the layman is most familiar. Consumed by even the simplest of daily activities and replenished by the food and drink that sustain us, this form of ether is in constant flux. In contrast, the ether that comprises the soul is rarely subject to dramatic change. The same can be said for memory, as the two are intrinsically linked. Picture the soul as paper, and memories as words written upon it.
welcome to the studium, I think it says.
Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink? The same type of ether as comprises the memories.
It would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well. In fact, this exact phenomenon was observed on a vast scale not so long ago. And what might that have been?
The seventh umbral calamity. The people of Eorzea vividly recall Bahamut breaking free of the Lesser Moon and raining hellfire down upon the realm. But no one could seem to remember the events that followed immediately afterwards.
Indeed. To this day, we have yet to determine whether it was an unintended consequence or a deliberate act.
Oh, that's a interesting bit of lore, isn't it?
The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Sharlayan prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation. Only when a new member is inducted and told of our great duty are they subjected to the process. A necessary evil. You have my word that it would never be used to manipulate the populace.
I should hope not. But can this enchantment be dispelled and your memories restored?
If 9/10 of our members give their approval, then the process may be reversed. Then, and only then, would we be able to speak freely to others of our sacred duty. Barring that, we must wait until we return to the ethereal sea. For there we will be purified, the blots upon our souls washed clean. And our memories drift apart and dissolve, rather defeating the purpose, I suppose. But there are those memories that are indelibly etched upon our souls, some believe.
What happens after that?
We are reduced to pure ether, coalesce with that of others, and create souls anew. Alternative schools of thought assert souls remain whole and return to the corporeal world, reborn into another form. Both theories have their proponents. Personally, I consider each equally probable.
Yeah, it's going. It's like way too much school for me. Way too much.
Well, I think that's enough education for today, now that I've given you some food for thought. Or rather, an entire banquet.
Wake up, Ink.
I would remind you that although I'm unable to assist you with certain matters, the resources at my disposal may still be of use to you. I'll arrange for you all to be given the run of Phenomenon. Of course, as associate to our alumni and the students of Baldessian, this privilege is extended to you as well, my friend.
Oh, that's nice. Gev's going.
And I suggest you speak with Ki Aliapo. She's well known among the artisans of Sharlayan, and her network of contacts may prove useful in your search for knowledge. I wish you all the best in your pursuits, wheresoever they may take you.
I like his laugh there. You've been granted the run of Phenomenon. If you are game, Ki Aliapo would put your artisanry to good use. Oh yeah, we're probably game. Alize says, some of my earliest memories are of Scholark Montishen. Actually, he was a close friend of our grandfather. He would come for tea and amaze us with his tricks, much like his demonstration with the paper and ink. He's a huge part of why I wanted to enter the studium in the first place. Elfino says, while Scholarch Monteshen is best known for his role as head of the studium, he is said to be one of the finest mages Charlian has ever produced. Having seen for myself the ease with which he weaves extraordinarily complex and powerful magics, I have no reason to doubt the claim. Ryle is still digesting a rather hefty portion of food for thought. Says, well, that's given me much to mull over. I feel as though we're one step closer to understanding the form's true motives and the mysteries of life itself for good measure. It's funny, I came here with the intent of expressing my gratitude, only to leave more indebted than before. I have a feeling his friendship and support will be a great boon to us in days to come. And on that note, let's head back to the annex. Perhaps on the way, you could better acquaint yourself with Kialiapo as the scholar suggested, while I share our findings with Raha. Alright, we'll go chat with Kialiapo. I went the wrong way. I think I have to be disciple of the hand or land. Alright, Kialiapo is in need of a helping hand. It's you! You're the one the scholar was telling us about, Gav, yes? Brilliant! Just the man I was hoping to see. As I'm sure you are aware, the Studium is the most prestigious educational institution in all of Charlian. As such, we make a point of only working with the best educators and students. The gleaners we employ are also held to the same high standards, of course. Which is perhaps why it has been so difficult to find the assistance we need of late. Surely you understand the trouble of finding competent and capable help? That you are come here suggests you're willing to lend a hand, no? I'm certain you would have much to gain from working with us, if so. Do let me know should you commit to lending your services to the Studium. I should warn you, however, there is much I must explain ere you begin, so please be certain you have sufficient time to spare. We'll kind of breeze through this real quick. Now allow me to explain our work here. Professors and students from our many faculties gather and searchers meet in order to do business with and recruit reputable individuals such as yourself. Allow me to briefly introduce those here at present. Here we have Boric from the Faculty of Archaeology, who works as an assistant to our Professor Rurusha and is currently seeking a skilled metalworker to help restore an ancient relic. Then there's Jude, who belongs to the Faculty of Astronomy. He seems to be looking for an artisan able to work with leather, cloth, or wood, but he wouldn't tell me much more than that. He's awfully shy, you see. Next we have DeBroy, a student studying in the Faculty of Medicine. I'm fairly sure she's carrying out research under the supervision of Professor Galvaroche. In any case, I hear she's after someone who knows a thing or two about medicine and nutrition. And there's Hinageshi of the Faculty of Anthropology. She told me she's looking for botanists and miners at present. By the sounds of it, she and Professor Tankin are dealing with a formidable task. Last but not least is Professor Talaka Tia, an associate professor in the Faculty of Etherology. I heard he's in need of a fishery to help him conduct research for his thesis. Unfortunately, things do not seem to be progressing well for him at the moment. I'd say those 5 are the ones most in need of your supplementary aid. I'll leave it to your discretion as to who you choose to help. Though be forewarned, academics can be something of an odd bunch. Just be sure not to leave anyone in the lurch after you've agreed to help them. Okay. You may now undertake deliveries at the studium. Speak to those belonging to the institution's various faculties to learn what ails them. Okay. I'm going to go back to our MSQ. Actually, what jobs do I still have? Oh yeah, we unlocked Machinist. I need to work on that some more. I think I got the level 30 quest done already. I just need to work my way up to level 35 on him to get the next one. Alright. I'm gonna go grab a drink. So, I'm gonna let the ads roll real quick. So, take a break, get a drink, watch the ads if you want. I don't know. Love the cat crew? Yeah. Oh, there's some emotes that we've uploaded, by the way. They're the cat ones. And I think if you're following, you can use the hi, bye, heart, eyes, yes, and nope. And you get 5 of them. So, and then we've got our boys, right? And girls. Those are fun. But I put a bunch of cat ones in there. They were really, really cute. I used some of the sub money I got from the Pump Fun craziness a few weeks back. Well, gosh, on Mother's Day, actually. And so I used some of the funds to get the emotes for us. Now we have to speak with Graha Tia in the main hall of the Baldessian Annex. I don't know if ads are gonna go in 4 minutes. I don't know. I don't understand the Twitch ad thing yet. Oh yeah. There you go. Aren't they cute? Okay. Let's go back to our Baldessian Annex. Estinian's back. Elfino says, Estinian returned not long after we departed for the studium. Shame that he missed the chance to attend our lecture with the scholar, or perhaps not. I'm sure he was not sad to miss the lesson. Having spent most of my time in Thavner, I've yet to fully grasp the lie of the land here in Charlian. Even finding my way to the annex proved a challenge. Alize says, you'd better not let your guard down around Key. One small favor becomes another, then another, and before you know it, you'll be running to the other side of the world in search of a bottle of wine or some such rubbish. Then again, it might make for a welcome change of pace from your usual heroics, and as the scholar said, it could also lead to interesting discoveries. Ryle says, it seems I've done an adequate job of relaying Scholar Monteshane's lecture to Raha. Given his experiences in the field of souls and memories, he had no trouble understanding it. Raha says, welcome back. From what I hear, your trip to the studium proved most educational. While you were away, I received word from our fellow scions. As expected, news of the warding scales was met with much joy. Preparations are now underway to bring the leadership of the Grand Company of Eorzea and the Eastern Alliance together to determine a way forward. Our friends have asked that we bring the scales in our possession to Limsa Lominsa. Alice says, so the time has come for us to go on the offensive? Raha says, it's too early to say for certain, but that does seem to be the way the winds are blowing. I, for one, can think of no reason to oppose such a plan, but let us see what awaits us in Vilbrand. Ryle says, let's start by getting the scales out of storage. Give me a hand, would you, Estinian? He is the tallest one in the room. Ooh, I didn't realize these crates were so heavy, says Kryle. I shouldn't complain, though. Vritra and the alchemists of the great work put their heart and soul into each and every one of these scales, so you must treat them with the utmost care. Elise says, are you not coming with us? Kryle says, as much as I would like to escape the Forum's watchful gaze, I've little choice but to stay behind. We were already on thin ice, and if I, in my capacity as our official representative, were found to be consorting with foreign powers, well, you can imagine how that would go. I shall remain here and do my utmost to avoid ruffling any more feathers as I wait word from Master Matoya and our other allies. Alphino says, with luck, we'll soon have good news of our own to share. The tide is about to turn. I can feel it. To Limsa Laminza. Ryle says, if you learn aught of interest, be sure to let me know. In the meantime, I will do what I can to aid our cause, though I fear that will be precious little given the circumstances. Enter the command room in Limsa Laminza. Seeing if anybody else is outside. Let's see. We gotta go to the command room. Zendale says, I was told to expect you. As you may or may not be aware, the Admiral is at present entertaining the Elder Seedseer and the Sultana. 3 of the most powerful women in the world in one room. Do you need a moment to prepare, or shall I show you to them? Let's, wait until the ads are almost done here. I can't tell how the ads are running on your stream. I've got my J account watching it, so I see ads on it. But, I can't tell on my screen really easily how the ads are running. Okay. Let's go and chat with him. Merlvib says, my apologies for calling you away from Charlian at such short notice. Vino says, on the contrary, we are honored and grateful, and pleasantly surprised to be joined by such esteemed company. Kane-sana says, 'twas only right that this discussion be conducted in person. We are locked in a war of attrition. Our forces struggle to contain the threat posed by the towers, and it is only a matter of time before we are overwhelmed. Victory will only be claimed through decisive action, and we have taken the initiative to set the wheels in motion. Alphino says, it is reassuring to learn we are all in one accord. But might I ask what your plan entails? Nanamo says, it hinges entirely on the warding scales and our ability to utilize their potential to the fullest. Merlvib says, during your time in Charlian, the allied nations have been engaged on separate fronts with no end in sight. To make matters worse, a surge in abductions of Kobold, Sahagan, Ixal, and Ananta have given rise to an increasing number of primals as well. But your triumph in Radzatan has given us cause to hope once more. Nanamo says, the time has come to free ourselves of this menace, and it is you, the scions of the Seventh Dawn, who have shown us the way. Kane says, while the bulk of our forces will continue to hold the Talaferoi at bay, we will dispatch our finest to strike at the enemy's heart, Garlemald. Those brave few will be the Ilsebard contingent. And if they're going, whoa, Alphino says, to think such progress has been made in so short a span. Merlvib says, its objectives are twofold. The first is to provide aid to the people of Garlemald. Animo says, as previously reported, countless Imperial soldiers and civilians have been tempered. Robbed of their free will, they serve the Telaphroi, every whim without question. They too are victims. It is our duty to deliver them from their suffering, not for strategic or political gain, but because it is the right thing to do. I do not ask that we set aside the decades of conflict and conquest, that we simply choose to forgive and forget. I ask only that in choosing to remember, we do not also forsake our compassion and morality, for without that, there can be no reconciliation, only death without end. Merlvib says, aye, on that we can all agree. Our second objective is the colossal tower that Thancred and Urianger observed in the capital. Though its purpose remains unclear, there's reason to believe the smaller spires are merely a precursor of what's yet to come. Until the Tower of Zot was toppled, we failed to make any headway, though the same could be said of the Telaphroi. They're certainly in no rush to press further into our lands. I'd wager the spire's primary purpose is to divide and keep us occupied while they work towards our annihilation. Kane Senna says, this would appear to be substantiated by Y'shtola's analysis of the tower's influence on ethereal currents. I know her. It may be in the Mog station, or the Mog store. Kane says, based on her observations inside the Tower of Zot, the spires siphon ether from the land, consuming it to maintain their form. However, they draw forth far more than is required for this task alone. The excess of ether remains unaccounted for, but we can be sure it is not being harnessed for our benefit. Merlvib says, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if it was being redirected to the larger spire in the capital. There's a logic in that. Regardless, once we have uncovered the truth, we'll bring their schemes crashing down along with their infernal towers. Justinian says, that's all well and good. But what would you have us do? I assume it's more than handing over the scales and being on our way. We want you and your scales to join the Ilsabard contingent. Consider it an official request from both the Grand Company of Eorzea and the Eastern Alliance. Do you accept? Everybody looks at Gav. Elise says, perhaps you should be the one to answer that. We can say, for honor and glory, for the people of Garlemald, for revenge against the Telaphroi. Let's see what that is. Couldn't have put it better myself. Y'shtola, Thancred, and Urianger have already pledged their support and are on their way to meet the rest of the contingent. They were positive you would come to the same decision as they did. Luckily for all involved, their prediction was correct. Nanamo says, once you have delivered the warning scales to Alamigo, the contingent will embark on its journey to Ilsabard. Rauban and Lord Emmerich are overseeing preparations, so I suggest you make yourself known upon arrival. Merlvib says, pack warm clothing, furs and the like. Without it, the cold will do you in before the Telaphroi so much as draw steel. As for us, we'll keep the enemy busy while you're gone. They're not the only ones who can create a diversion. Now go, safe in the knowledge Eorzea will be as you left it, or better, upon your return. Ooh. Music gives me goosebumps. Oh yeah, all three do have great outfits. Although I think Merlvib's probably the most practical of the bunch. Speak with Rauban in the Alamigan Quarter. Sure, we'll use an Aetheryte ticket. Save myself 1,000 gil. How many Aetheryte tickets do I have left? I have 58 Vesper Bay ones. I got 79 Aetheryte tickets. That's pretty good. Elise says, you know, I'm quite looking forward to seeing who's been selected for the Ilsebard contingent. I have a few people in mind. Care to make a friendly wager? That's so Elise. Let's bet on who's going. Opino says, I'll admit this is all rather daunting, though not quite in the way I was expecting. We'll be standing shoulder to shoulder with our alliance's finest, the best of the best, the Warrior of Light and, well, me. I hope you know. It's silly, I know. Perhaps this is my way of distracting myself from the part I should be worried about, marching into Garlemald. And Graha says, I must quiz Thancred and Urianger on the conditions we can expect in Garlemald. I know it's cold, but how cold? Will I need to keep my ears covered? They can be a bit sensitive at times. Hey, sometimes you gotta sleep, right? Alright. Estinian says, if Emmerich asks after me, say I'm getting on fine and leave it at that. Don't you dare breathe a word about the cord. Like, Emmerich can see the cord. But he won't hear about how Estinian, like, bravely overpaid for it. Emmerich says, fancy meeting you here. I trust our mutual friend is settling into life as a scion. Collaboration never was his forte. The moment the fighting ended, off he'd go like a Gallicat, swept up in a strong breeze. But rest assured, he will always be there when you need him. Probably. Alright, let's talk to Rauban. The Wanderers return. You've been busy bringing down a tower and producing the keys to destroying the rest of them. You should be proud. Those warding scales of yours are what's made this whole venture possible. Will you and Lord Emmerich be leading the contingent? Emmerich says, regrettably, no. Our role is to organize the various delegations into a cohesive unit. Once we have seen you all off, it's back to our respective posts. We dare not neglect our duties for too long, lest our defensive efforts fall into disarray. And just between us, there was a fair amount of opposition to the formation of the Ilsebard contingent. The very suggestion that we send out some of our finest troops behind enemy lines to render aid unto the Garleans has made me rather unpopular in certain quarters. Estinian says, can't please them all. Emmerich says, sadly not, though I do my best. Truth be told, I'd much rather be at your side, charging into the fray. Alas, I've battles of my own to fight, where words may serve me better than any blade. Raban says, I hate to say it, but Lord Emmerich's struggles mirror my own. For the time being, the best we can offer you is peace of mind from knowing Eorzea is in safe hands. As you fight the good fight in Ilsebard, I and the other commanders will do what we can to convince the naysayers that our cause is just. Elfino says, thank you, both of you. Somebody says, we meet again. Guy says, word of your exploits travels quickly. From what I gather, the protective talismans you obtained led to the formation of this expeditionary force. My contribution on this occasion is but a minor one, that being the information I have shared with Maxima. For the sake of the people of Garlemald, may the fates be on your side. Estinian says, so, you're not coming with us? Strange. I thought you'd have a stake in this. Estinian's a little bit suspicious there. Guy says, I do. The Telophoroi have laid waste to my homeland and enslaved my people. But though every mote of my being cries for vengeance, I cannot be the one to deliver it. My presence alone would place the entire mission in jeopardy. I stand accused of murdering Emperor Varus and plunging Garlemald into chaos. Were I to travel with the Ilsabard contingent, it would give my countrymen ample cause to question our motives. Conversely, those who believe me innocent may instead celebrate the return of a former legatus and attempt to raise me to a position of leadership, further destabilizing the region and complicating the contingent's mission. Whether I am branded a villain or hailed as a hero, I would only hinder your efforts. So we can say, we will deliver your people from harm in your stead, or I doubt they'll be pleased to see the champion of Eorzea set foot on Garlean soil. Yeah. They won't want to see me either. Hey. Fair point, but so long as you refrain from announcing your arrival to all and sundry, the average person should have no inkling as to your identity. Although your titles and deeds are common knowledge, only a select few would recognize you on sight alone. Perhaps one day they will learn that the Warrior of Light is not a demon to be feared, but a man deserving of their trust. Maximus says, in light of Gaius's rather unique circumstances, I instead will assume the role of your guide. Though I may have defected for political reasons, my love for Garlemald endures. I would stop at nothing to protect her and her people. Robin says, well said. Might I ask you to escort our friends inside? Emmerich says, you might even bump into an old acquaintance or two, and if I don't see you again ere you depart, may the Fury guide and protect you. All of you. A capital idea. Welcome in everybody. And for those of you who are enjoying lurking, welcome to you all too. Let's go around the clock here. Regardless of how my countrymen receive you, the cold will not treat you kindly. Underestimate it at your peril. Elisa says, I suppose it's easy for some people to forget there are civilians in Garlemald too, when the only Imperials they've ever known are soldiers. Elfino says, with the knowledge that our allies will hold the line in our absence, we may devote our attention to the Ilsabardian front. Raha says, so that's Gaius Belsar, the horrors he must have seen. Many of his own making, I do not doubt. Yeah. Stinian says, like Gaius, I too stand accused of Varus' murder, though I am rather less recognizable on sight. Still, it's something to bear in mind once we reach Garlemald. Oh yeah, because he had his helmet on, so... Emmerich says, I neglected to mention earlier that we received a report from our troops that may be of interest to you. While engaged with the lunar primal, a great worm swooped down from the skies above and came to their aid. This worm, as described, was the spitting image of Tiamat. It would seem she too continues to wage war against the Telafroi. Yeah, we saw that in that dungeon. Robin says, once we've seen the contingent on its way, I will return to my duties here in Alamigo. As many of our most capable will be traveling with you to Garlemald, we who remain will have to fight that much harder to make up the difference. But let no man say I do not welcome the challenge. Aye, this old bull isn't ready to hang up his horns yet. Best of the best. Oh, it looks like we get an outfit. Maxima would have you meet your new traveling companions. The other members of the Ilsabard contingent are gathered in the royal palace. I shall inform them of your arrival, so please make your way inside as soon as you are ready. Alright, do they have anything else for us? Nope. Oh, does Rauban have anything else? Okay. Resistance Guard. Ah, the remaining members of the Scions. Your friends and most of the Ilsabard contingent await you within. Would you like me to see you through? Yes.
By the 12.
Oof. Look at all of them.
Glad you could join us. I hope you don't mind, but we went ahead and started without you.
As you can imagine, our traveling companions were eager to become acquainted. 'Tis a rare thing indeed to see such a diverse and talented group of individuals assembled for a single purpose. We fight not only for the sake of Eorzea, but for the entire world, including the people of Garlemald. Much rides on the efforts of the Ilsabard contingent.
Indeed, which is why I am glad to find myself in the company of many trusted comrades, yourselves included.
Lucia!
I have come at the behest of Lord Emmerich, who has honored me with the role of Ishgard's representative. And for the good of all nations, not least my former homeland, I am determined to see this mission through to its end. We have a hard road ahead of us, but walk it we shall, together.
We too welcome this opportunity to work together once more. I have faith that if there is a way to resolve this conflict, we will find it.
Allow me to introduce you to the rest of our company.
Yeah, we haven't seen Lucia for like, 2 expansions, so.
Everyone! If I may have your attention. Might I ask you to speak first?
If I must.
I think it's Kane Senna's brother.
I am Arun Senna, spokesman for the Gridanian delegation, here on behalf of my esteemed sister, the Elder Seedseer. We shall provide support and protection to those in need during our time in Garlemald. To that end, I am joined by healers selected by the Conjurers Guild, with the Order of the Twin Adder's Finest serving as our escort.
Suppose I'd better say my piece.
Some of these folks we've met in our job quests, right?
Wait, I know you.
The name's Sicard, in case you've forgotten. Truth be told, I'd rather you had forgotten. Anyway, the Admiral asked Captain Hilfear to send his best, and for whatever reason, he picked me. Of course, if I'd refused, I'd be the laughing stock of the bloody executioners, and my reputation's taken enough of a keyhauling as it is. But more importantly, like any pirate worth his salt, I know when you're staring down a storm, you gotta trust in the commander of your ship. So if the Admiral wants us to go to Garlemald, not for plunder and glory, but the promise of peace in our time, then that's what we'll do. Since we all know how much the Empire loves its steel, we thought we'd bring along a few smiths to make the most of it. Give them a pile of scrap and they'll cobble together anything you fancy.
Nice.
Of course, just like the Gridanians, we got fighters of our own. We might have come with a more constructive purpose in mind, but we're more than capable of cracking skulls, believe you me.
Well, you're certainly raring to go. But then again, so are we. The most dependable warriors of Uldar and Alamigo have assembled at the Sultana and General Aldin's behest. If Garlemald has truly fallen, then the whole place is likely to be crawling with Telophoroi. We'll need plenty of troops to clear and hold a path for others to follow. That's where we come in. Naturally, Marshal Tarapin and I will be leading from the front.
It's been some time since I last saw you in your element on the battlefield.
From what I've heard, you've become pretty fearsome yourself. Master Matoya, the Avatar of Destruction.
Who could have told on her?
With comrades like these, I know we'll succeed, no matter what awaits us. And then we might finally get a chance to enjoy a good long rest. But until then, let's give it our all.
As for Ishgard, we Temple Knights have come in force to uphold our nation's commitment to the peace and welfare of our allies. The bitter cold of Garlemald is a formidable enemy in of itself. Our experience fighting in ice and snow will prove invaluable in the days ahead.
Yeah, if you have never experienced snow and the cold to the degree of somebody who's lived like in the far north, it can be dangerous. Just like if you live in the south, you know the heat can be really dangerous, and northerners don't always get that. Southerners don't always get how cold things can get and how much work it is even to walk through, 6 inches of snow.
Accordingly, I have been designated commander of the Ilzabard contingent. I will do all in my power to provide you with the leadership and guidance you require. The 4 high houses, House Hylinart foremost among them, have arranged for a host of machinists to join us on our mission. Their knowledge of Imperial Magitech is sure to be a great boon. They will address any problems of a technical nature, together with the smiths of Limpsa Lomitsa. There is another awaiting introduction.
Lord Emonelaine!
Ah, yes. Emonelaine de Forton, at your service.
And still not loved by Lucia at all.
Though, lest there be any misunderstanding, I should stress that I've not become a fearsome warrior while you were away. Rather, far from it, actually. My brother, in his infinite wisdom, decided this would be an excellent chance to make something of myself. Oh, and fight for world peace and all that. But, should the opportunity arise for a spot of ballroom dancing, I will be your twinkle-toed gentleman of light.
Oh my god. I think Kev's going, okay. May your graceful prancing lead the way to victory, or I dare say your fancy footwork may be all that stands between us and certain doom. That look.
I cannot wait to regale Honohua with my tales of daring do.
I believe that concludes introductions for the Grand Company of Eorzea.
Lucia's going, oh my god.
Our allies from the Eastern Alliance were due to arrive some time ago, but it would appear they have been delayed.
Would that be the shinobi of Doma?
Actually, they've been tasked with relaying messages back and forth between the various Eastern nations. According to Lord Hien, however, an equally capable company of warriors has been sent in their stead.
Out of my way, you preening fool!
I knew it. I knew it. Sadu and Magnite.
Forgive us for coming late. We are the delegates of the Eastern Alliance.
Cyrena, and you've brought company.
For battle and blood we come, as a step is sorely lacking in both. No towers befoul our lands, so we marched on those of Doma, only to find them beyond our reach. But now our thirst for slaughter will be slaked. No quarter to the enemy!
Sadu Hatun, no. We go to make peace with the Iron Men, not war.
Warriors of the Steppe, we've heard many tales of your bravery. We welcome you as allies. And these other ones you have brought are
Members of the Dalmascan resistance group, Lente's Tears.
And the Bosnian resistance. Between them, they have a wealth of experience in espionage, and are particularly adept at infiltrating Imperial facilities. Which is fortuitous, since Garlemald's domain is so vast that I could never hope to handle reconnaissance duties all by myself.
Dalmasca, Bosnia, Alamigo. All lands which have suffered the tyranny of the Empire. I would never presume to question your motives. Nevertheless, I must reiterate that our goal is to aid the victims of the Telophoroi, the common folk of Garlemald. And they are victims, make no mistake. Though I understand that many may struggle to see them as such.
You're more right than you know. For every one of us that answered the call, there were a dozen that refused. Not only in Alamigo, but everywhere we went. And who could blame them? The Empire's always been the enemy. But after seeing what we've seen, fighting and working against and with Garleans, there's no denying the simple truth. They're just people. No different from you or I. They've got their share of liars and murderers, but so do we. So do we all. Fordola, who once swore herself to Garlemald, has proven herself a trusted ally time and time again. Every Eorzean here knows Cid Garland, the Imperial defector who shared with us countless technological wonders. Maxima, who stands with us today, tried to reform Garlemald from within and make peace with Doma. So you can believe me when I say that every fighter here understands and accepts that the Imperials are not monsters and are deserving of help. Or at least that they were able to put aside their feelings for the greater good. It won't be easy, but we're all determined to make this world a better place.
What lingering concerns I may have had were clearly unwarranted. I agree with everything you said wholeheartedly.
Then we are in accord. Now, let us review our strategy. To reach the Garlean capital in northern Ilsabard, we must cross the central mountain range. Fortunately, Garlond Ironworks can provide aerial transport, sparing us this most treacherous part of our journey. However, attempting to fly any closer to Garlemald would attract the attention of the Telophoroi. As they appear to have seized control of the majority of the Imperial military, we must assume that includes its fleet. In addition, Garlemald possesses devices that can interfere with airship navigational systems, further discouraging an airborne approach.
Oh, that's kind of convenient, right?
Given the circumstances, the closest we dare deploy our contingent is an area between the range and the capital, the Magna Glaciers. From there, we must travel the rest of the way on foot. We will also need to bring the airships with us to ensure we can withdraw with haste. Although much of the terrain will be blanketed in snow, we should be able to make use of local roads and shipping facilities. The vast ice field will afford us an unobstructed view of the surrounding area. On the other hand, it will also allow others to easily spot us. So it is imperative that we only make camp in positions where we can easily defend ourselves. And the airships, which must be kept safe at all costs.
Kind of our only way back, right?
We cannot account for every possibility, so we must be prepared to think on our feet. We will be tested. Sorely tested, I expect. But for our homes and for our people, and a people not our own but in need, we will succeed. Spare no effort in your preparations. Once we depart, there is no turning back.
Ooh, there's a whole bunch of people to talk to here. Uranus says, I'm glad to see you well, Gav. Grandmother was worried for you. The night I agreed to come hither and join the contingent, the gods sent her a strange dream. 2 suns, one burning red, the other frozen black. Closer they circled, closer and closer, and as they danced, the world fell to ruin. In blinding chaos she spied blackened silhouettes, and knew at once that one was yours. Yet we knew not how to interpret this dream, save as a sign that great danger awaits. But whatever lies ahead, I will walk with you, traveler. Saru, I care not for the Iron Men or their troubles. It is the destiny of the weak to die in ignominy. Even so, I will do as I have agreed. I volunteered to join this band at Sirena's request, and if she thinks it is a worthy cause, that is reason enough. Though we hail from different tribes, our bond has grown strong of late. She is much better company on a hunt than any of the steppes oafish men could dream to be. Magni, with the Mole, champions of the Nadam, and the Dotharl having sent so many here, I had thought to defend the steppe in their absence. And I would have done so were it not for my step-brothers. They urged me to grant our allies the sun's might, that his radiance may deliver them unto victory. Though I must tolerate the presence of this feral Dotharli dog, as first among my brothers, I could do no less than accept this challenge. My deeds will become the stuff of legends. Is he going to find his, future wife? Oh, here's Sanson. Our prowess has finally been recognized by the Order of the Twin Adder. Naturally, Idolo is also here helping us. Whilst his ability as a bard is unmatched, I do worry about his judgment. However, you need not. I shall be keeping a close eye on him, I promise. Idolo is a lot of fun. If you haven't done the bard story, definitely do it. I can't lie to you, Gab. I wasn't entirely for this whole thing when Sanson spoke to me, but if it means being your brother in arms, then who am I to pettifog? I shouldn't be so hard on him, I suppose. This bard unit is quite impressive, really. Yes, one must give credit where credit is due. Rather uncouth for one to do otherwise, after all. Let's see. Amrun Senna. With so many people from so many places, I'm rather out of my element. Regardless, I am a seed seer and will endeavor to acquit myself accordingly. Alkazoko? Greetings, Gav. It appears that both Thu and Thought are needed here, and who embodies both as well as I. So, for the time being, my research into ancient Nim must wait. Alright. Sickard says, until the Empire fell, Garleans were the only ones we was allowed to impose tariffs upon at sea. Weren't easy pickings, but I made myself a pretty gill. Since they've been so generous to me and mine, perhaps it's time I returned the favor and gave a little something back. Filled with many meanings there. Bronvar. I'm here representing the Marauders Guild, and it's my job to keep the smiths out of harm's way. Mind you, with them hammers of theirs, they can put up a fair fight themselves. With a bit of luck, this will be over and done with before you know it. Maybe when this is all over, we could pay the Axemaster a visit. He still tells all the new recruits about the time you killed Kujata and avenged that boy's parents. I remember like it was yesterday. Ibn says, often has father told me of the struggles faced by Alamigo in the days of the occupation, and I too have crossed swords with the Empire on many occasions. Though Garlemald has long been our bitter enemy, her grace is elected to bolster the Ilsabard contingent with members of the Immortal Flames. As representatives of the Sultanate, we are one in our commitment to the cause. And Lee says, it seems so long ago we were sailing across the Ruby Sea and charging about the Azim Steppe with Sirena and the others. I say we're overdue for another adventure. It brings back memories to see so many familiar faces. We've been through so much together. Good times and not so good. I expect Garlemald will be mostly the latter, but I'd like to believe we'll look back on those days more fondly in the years to come. But for that to happen, we'd have to make it out of this alive. Don't you die on me, eh? Lucia says, I've led troops into battle many a time, but never a unit with such a diverse range of talents. While I've been briefed on their capabilities, I expect you could provide additional insight into their strengths and weaknesses. I'd appreciate any advice you may have. Maximo says, I cast my lot with the Populares to bridge the divide between Garlemald and her territories, that all may be united in common cause, but we were disparaged as a radical element. dissenters looking to destabilize the Empire from within. Many friends and even my parents perished in, quote, unfortunate accidents, unquote. I too would surely have met the same fate had I not defected. Nevertheless, I still dream of equality and peace for us all. As the world itself stands on the brink of collapse, I hold out hope that one day that dream will become reality. Manolene says, well, if I'd known what a social gathering this would turn out to be, I'd have dressed for the occasion. Still, this seems the perfect opportunity to mingle with the other guests. Would I be correct in assuming those ladies over yonder are Sirena and Sadhu of the Steppe? Perhaps I should introduce myself, though I don't much like the look of that fellow with the enormous axe. Stephanie Vian. Well met, Gav, well met. 'Twould seem that my machinists have been called upon to serve. A turn of events which, according to my prospectometer, could prove to be quite the opportunity. I shall show the world the full extent of machinistry's worth. Of that and more you can be sure of, my friend. Albrecht says, let me have a look at you. A touch nervous to enter the battlefield, perhaps? Well, I shall be out there alongside you as a temple knight serving with your fine van. Though I may not look it, I was the Azure Dragoon once upon a time, so you can rest assured I will give all that I have in the coming fight. I certainly won't be shown up by you or Estinian. Alright, let's talk to our scions here. I've close ties with the scouts of the Eastern Alliance and the various resistance groups, and they're an absolute joy to work with. Riage says, blessed are we to have made countless steadfast allies o'er our journey's course. Indeed, we are joined today by many new acquaintances who in time shall we come to call our comrades and mayhap friends. Okay. We're blessed to have all these countless allies we've made over time. And we're joined today by new folks too, who we hope to come to call comrades and maybe even friends. Elise says, I was half expecting to find the man who taught me red magic amongst our number, but he's nowhere to be seen. I suppose he's had his share of unpleasant experiences with the Empire, but so have we all. Perhaps there's some other reason? Well, in any case, I have a feeling I'll see him again once this is all over. I'm sure he'll be pleasantly surprised by how much my swordplay has improved since we last met. Elfino says, we've been part of joint military operations like this before, and with far greater numbers, but for some reason this feels very different to our previous experiences. Despite having shared little more than introductions, there is already a palpable sense of camaraderie. Raha says, this is extraordinary. To be in such company, the finest our allies have to offer. With comrades such as we are bound to succeed, I'm certain of it. Stinian says, I did not expect to see the other former Azure Dragoon here of all places. As he well knows, I'm not one for verbose greetings. We shall instead let our lances do the talking once we are on the battlefield. Then we'll see if the other has been diligent in his training. I think Estinian's a little jealous there, don't you? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy the story, Chelly. But where's little man? I loved that line. I laughed so hard the first time I saw it. Because I just went, yes. Alright. Ishtola says, besides the delegates assembled here, the Amalja and several other tribes offered to send troops of their own. Unfortunately, due to their physiology, many would struggle simply to survive in the harsh climate of Ilsabard. They would also likely prove tempting targets for abduction by the Talaforoi. All things considered, they can better aid the cause by bolstering our defenses in Eorzea, though their eagerness to do more has been noted. We few shall have to suffice. Ere we embark, we must distribute the warding scales to our comrades. Care to do the honors? Alright. Does she have anything else for us? I suspect a few of our comrades will be rather pleased to speak with you again, which is why I thought you'd be the ideal candidate. In the meantime, I have a bone to pick with Thancred and Urianger regarding their wagging tongues. Alright, we'll give one to Cyrna. We heard it would be cold in Garlemald, so we came prepared. Warding scales. These enchanted talismans, or should that be talismen, would probably require considerably less time and effort to produce if the alchemists of the Great Work were not so preoccupied with making them look pretty. Oh, the talismans. We are to keep these close at all times, yes? I will see that no one misplaces theirs. Oh, and before I forget, I have a message from Hien. In distant lands, in times of strife, together stand, together fight. In darkness shines the light of life. I hope I have done his words justice. Doma, like much of Athard, has been plagued by the towers. Yet while he could not be here, he wishes to express his shared conviction. Hien and Yugiri labor without rest to unite the people, and with their aid will we keep the enemy at bay. And we of the Steppe and the Eastern Alliance will repay their efforts by ending this war. Okay. Irun Senna? Yes. He's so verbose. So these are the famed warding scales. Enough for me and my men, I see. Under normal circumstances, I would not be allowed to travel outside of the Twelves Wood. The Elder Seedseer, however, has granted me special permission. She has bid me lend my magics to the people of Garlemald while learning all I can of their ways. In so doing, I will come closer to understanding myself and my place in the world. Or, so she says. I say it is past time our allies benefited from the power at a Seedseer's disposal. Some bemoan that we hide our light under a bushel, and I intend to address that criticism. Hey, Sickard says, I hear you got something for us. Ah, them scales everyone's been talking about. Pretty little things, ain't they? Reckon they'll be worth a gil or two when this is all over, but we'll hold on to them for now. And one more thing. I know what you're all thinking. Why didn't they send Einzar instead? Buggered if I know. All the Admiral and Captain Hilfear told me was they needed someone to help, quote, safeguard the future, unquote. And here I am. Can't say they haven't got a sense of humor. Of course, some of you might be wondering what good a pirate is on dry land in the middle of the sodden snow of all places. Well, me and my crew will do whatever needs doing. So let's set sail, or however the saying goes on airships. That a set of warding scales I spy. Not that I would know what they'd look like. Wow, look at these. Even a layman like me can tell they're bursting with ether. All the better to fend off the tempering waves? Is that the right term? Anyway, these will give us one less thing to worry about, which just leaves the other mountain of whatever else is waiting for us in Garlemald. Only one way to find out, eh? And nervous or not, I'll march through all 7 hells if it gave me a chance to put Xenos back in the grave where he belongs. Who says it's warding scales for the Ishgardian delegation, I take it? Yep. Many thanks. These talismans may prove to be the deciding factor in the battles to come. I find myself conflicted by this foray into Garlemald. Sent by the Empire to infiltrate Ishgard, only to throw in my lot with those whose secrets I was supposed to be stealing. And now I lead a mission to save the countrymen I betrayed. That is doubtless why I was chosen by Lord Emmerich. He would have me put my extensive knowledge and former ties to good use. I will not disappoint him. For the future of Ishgard, Garlemald, and the world at large, I will lead us to victory. There, Maxima, do you have a warding scale for me, too? Yes, I do. Thank you for this, and for going to such incredible lengths for the sake of my people. Though I have little to offer in return, I would impart some advice, if I may. You have been told by many to wear the cold of Ilspard, and I cannot stress enough that this is no token warning. I will be distributing specially made warming tinctures, courtesy of the Alchemists Guild, but understand that they are no substitute for proper protection. I leave the provisioning of said protection to your discretion. Now, let us proceed to the Alamegan Quarter. While you make your final preparations, I will have the pilots ready the airships. chat with our fellow scions. If you've anything you still need to take care of, you'd better see to it now. Ingrid says, this coat is quite warm, but I have something rather thicker for occasions like these. There's no telling how long we'll be out in the open, and we can't go starting fires willy-nilly if we want to avoid detection. Riange says, concoctions to fortify the flesh against wind and cold are commonly sold in the Ul'dan markets, though they are of dubious provenance and efficacy. Okay, potions against cold and wind are usually sold in the Ul'dan markets, although whether they work or not, may be another story. 'Tis said, however, that in recent days the Alchemist Guild hath produced a tincture capable of such a feat. Mayhap the achievements of their Thavnarian counterparts did spur them to action, that they not be put to shame. Okay. Although, I heard recently that the Alchemist Guild has produced a tincture actually capable of that, and possibly the achievements of the Alchemist Guild and Thavnar spurred them onto action so that they wouldn't be put to shame. Y'shtola says, it's something of a constant refrain that we require warmer clothing. My present garb may be lacking, fur collar notwithstanding. What did Destinian say? Preparations. I've got my armor and my lance. What more could I need? Rahatias. Since my revival, I've been lax in expanding my limited wardrobe. Think we have time for a quick trip back to Old Sharlayan? I recall a rather fetching coat. Elfino says, this is our last chance to make ready before we set forth. Ingrid says, you needn't worry about Urianger and I. We still have what we wore in Garlemald before. Justinian claims to be quite warm and toasty beneath his armor, and since he spent a fair bit of time up north recently as well, I have no reason to doubt his words. Most of the others will be borrowing Grand Company stock. The rest of you could do likewise, I suppose, provided you're not overly concerned with style. Y'shtola says, not to put too fine a point on it, but I wouldn't be seen dead in one of those ridiculous overcoats. If only I had time to find something to my liking. Hark, is that the cry of scions in need of a tailor, I hear? But how? I have my ways. Oh, yes indeed, says Tataru. You thought you could sneak off to Ilsabard without telling me? Ha! Nothing escapes my notice. Now you will wear these garments I've made for you, whether you like it or not. Rahatia says, you never cease to amaze. But why do you need a new outfit as well? Wait, are you coming with us? What? Oh, no, of course not, silly. It's all in the name of fashion. Rather, the pursuit of the highest quality fashion. Besides, how can I expect others to wear my creations if I've never worn them myself? Thancred goes, she's got a point. Oh, I did have one other thing to share. Ergamus and Bloomweeda have finally returned from assignments in faraway lands. They'll be staying at the Rising Stones for a while to keep an eye on events throughout Eorzea. Since they'll be running things back at headquarters, I was wondering if I could lend a hand in Sharlayan? Y'shtola says, oh, why not? You can keep Cryle company in the Baldessian Annex. Oh yes, she'd love to have you there, and I hear Ergmus and Bloomweeda did a fine job carrying on in our stead while we were lying comatose. With them in charge of the Rising Stones, we've nothing to worry about. My thoughts exactly. Also, while I'm confident you won't go collapsing again, because a certain someone who shall remain nameless isn't in a position to transport your souls to another world. If anything similarly disastrous were to happen, I'd be well positioned to do something about it. Anyway, I've got a few things to take care of, and then I'll make my way to Sharlayan. I really do hope these new clothes are enough to keep you warm in Garlemald. It's not much, but it's the only thing I can do for you other than pray for your safe return, which I will, every day. Elfino says, let's not keep the contingent waiting any longer. Here are your winter woolies, handcrafted by yours truly. Ooh, that's a North Sea coat. Actually not too bad. What does it look dyed? Of course, you know, I gotta have my blue. That could be kind of cool. Ooh. Let's do that the other way around. Blue satin. Wish you could do the whole thing in blue satin. Yeah, I'll have to work on that. I'm not sure you believe Lise. All right, and much as I hate to leave you on this cliffhanger of a battle to come, so the kids have finished making lasagna for hubby. We couldn't make it last night for a birthday dinner because it was just too late by the time my son and I got home from work. So we made it today, and I smell the garlic bread cooking, so I have a feeling dinner is going to be on the table imminently. So I am going to leave you with the cat joke. Let me get to that. Can you have some? Yes. Well, you'll have to come over to my house. That's the rule. If I cook, you got to come to my house to eat it. Let's get to our cat jokes. All right, before we do that, part 3 of the Limsa starter series is going to be up tomorrow. I just had to finish making a thumbnail and description for it. That'll probably be out tomorrow afternoon sometime, right? And then I'll be working on the Gridanian parts 2 and 3, and then I'll be working on the Ul'dah part 2 and 3 to finish out the entire series, right? Then I'll probably go back to doing the solo duty series. I wanted to get the starter series done because we've had so many new people coming in, and some of the things are not as well explained by the in-game tutorials. So we take everybody through. Like, one thing that's really not explained is how to get through Limsa Lominsa. So I take people on the exact route to take to get all Ethernet shards unlocked. So check that out. All right. Here's our cat joke for today. Why was the kitten unpopular at school? It had a bad catitude. Yep, catitude. All right. If you can like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, all that. That helps our channel grow. Spread the word. We're having a good time here. I'm enjoying live streaming. I love chatting with people as we go through this because it makes it even more fun. All right, I'll be back, I believe, on Saturday night for the next attempt at taking down Enuo in the extreme version. We're making more progress, so it's a challenging fight for sure. There's a lot going on in that fight. All right, folks. Mama Cat Gamer is going to sign out. Y'all have a great one, cats and kittens.